All of strategy starts outside of the organization. You can't start strategy by sitting in a conference room and talking to a bunch of people. Strategy starts with our competitors. That's where the customer is. I don't care how good you are or how powerful you feel. The customer's out there looking at buying from you versus buying from other competitors versus doing a substitute versus not doing something at all. So strategy starts external to the organization. So what do we got to deal with first? We have to deal with competitors. What do you really know about your competitors, right? I work with company after company after company. Here's a typical thing that happens. I walk into the CEO, I ask the CEO, well, who do you compete with? CEO says, let me get it to you here, Chuck, and writes down all the competitors. And I say, are you okay if I talk with your leadership team? And they go right ahead, but you're going to get the exact same answer from me. And I go talk to the leadership team, and I get 19 different competitors that are out there that are potential competitors. So who do we really need to deal with from a competitive standpoint? In strategy, we think of competitors as bump competitors. That is, if you win the deal, who didn't get the deal? If you don't get the deal, who got the deal? And I've got this crazy, ridiculous methodology for doing it. I ask the customer. I don't ask them why they chose those things, because customers lie. They don't mean to lie, but they lie. But I ask them what they did, and relatively quickly we can get down to a set of competitors. But you can do this even simpler than that. Who do you run up against over and over again? Who are you bumping up against with your competitive set? Let's put those competitors in. Second, who should we put in as proxy competitors? That is, competitors that might be doing something unique, might be doing something unusual, might be leading the potential for where the industry could go. So we have a nice mix of competitors. I like 5 to 6 as sort of a good list of competitors. Then, what do you know about your competitors? You should know your competitors. We actually build a strategy, or a competitive map. The competitive map across the top would have all of the things that you think are your competitive advantages, along with all the things your competitors think are their competitive advantages. So let's put all that across top. We're not going to evaluate whether we agree or disagree with what the competitor says. This is what the competitor claims is the reason you should buy from them. So now we got this all across the top. We got ourselves and each of our competitors down the side, and we'll evaluate them. Who says what across this competitive map? And what we get is something that we can really picture. Something where we can look at it and go, wow, thing after thing after thing that we thought was ours alone, our competitors are claiming the same thing. And it gets away from the whole idea of whether it's real or not. This is what they're claiming. This is what they're going to go to their customers and say. So we'll have to work on that. Let's pick on a bank again. I love banks. So I had a bunch of executives in the bank, and we're going through all their competitors, and I'm waiting for them to mention some of the big competitors, and they don't mention them. Finally, I'm like, what about, and I list that bank, and they're like, oh, Chuck, that bank doesn't work. They don't treat customers right. They're all technology oriented. They can't answer your questions for you. And I said, have y'all ever actually gone into one of their branches? Like ever? Right? And they're like, no, they're the enemy. So I adjourned them and sent them off to go visit these branches. They came back. They were like whipped puppy dogs. It's like, so were they able to answer your questions? Yes, they answered the questions. Were they able to open? Yes, they did. Could they did? Yes. So basically every single thing you thought was a competitive advantage, they're doing as well, right? Yeah, good. Now let's start. What we need to understand from a strategy point of view is that we're going to need deep understanding of who our competitors are for us to be able to do real strategy.